Hello. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. We have a special stream for you today because if you do not want to see Snow White, which I fully understand, we have a renowned movie critic here and cultural critic here who is going to give us his take on Snow White, which he did see. Bless him. And let me bring him up. And there he is. Oh my goodness. Look at you. You have an armful of dicks, Karsten.
I watched Snow White.
Yes.
I need now my emotional support willies.
Okay, got it.
Precisely Willie.
Yeah.
Dicky.
Yeah.
And Cocky.
I love it.
Because all willies matter.
All willies matter. And because, I know that there is a very determined Canadian curva who has taken a disliking to your black willie, and doesn't
Cocky?
feel that, and does not feel that you have a right to crochet such things. But look at that rainbow coalition of penises. I am absolutely delighted. And look at their little faces. Look at how happy they are.
I mean, they have no reason not to be happy.
Right.
Because all willies matter.
That's right.
Especially the curva should know this.
The curva should know it.
Yes.
The curva should know it. Because her accusations of racism are so tiresome. Now, I don't think that she has out and out accused you of being racist, sort of like with No Name. She's hedging her bets. But she's not dismissing it out of hand. The fact that you crochet black body parts is in and of itself a reason to, what is this now? Oh, look at that bear. Hello.
He has not a name yet.
He's adorable, though. Look at his little scarf.
Yeah, he's a little bit, he's cold. So he needed a white scarf to protect him from the cold.
I see. He's precious, though. He is so cute.
Because you cannot buy black teddies anywhere.
I did not know that.
Me either. So
I did not know
had
that.
to fill that gap. So that he can ease out a little bit with Mr. Facehugger here.
I love it. I love it. So, in other words, the response is go fuck yourself. Not you, Karsten. I adore you. Stop policing what people do in their spare time. Stop telling people or stop trying to turn people against someone just because they engage in a hobby that harms absolutely no one. Your accusations are horseshit. But, I mean, if you want to turn your audience against Karsten, good luck with that. I don't know what to tell you.
She already is calling me the European racist.
Oh, she did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she came right out and said that you were racist.
Yes, of course I am.
Oh, I did not know that. Well,
because racism is now because of your not racist friends. Not racist friends. You're automatically racist.
I see.
This is apparently how it works in for this person.
Okay, well, now that the curva has declared you officially a racist, I need to ask you for a favor. I'm going to lean in. I'm going to lean into this shit because that woman is a joke.
Sorry, Clara. I just realized I have white headphones.
Oh no.
And I have a black Coke.
Oh no.
Oh my God. The nerve of you to have me as a guest on your live stream today.
And you're German, by the way. I know, right?
Living in Austria, the birth country of we know
of you know who. Hello, Monsieur Mike. It is so good to see you, my dear.
Hello,
all right.
Chad. Good evening.
I think that I'm going to lean into this nonsense, this horse shit, right? So we need to put your crochet skills to the test. Now, the curva had the gall to go on her channel and say that I wear a clan hood inside my home. Now, I do not own a clan hood. I do not own a clan hood. I am not a member of that defunct organization that nobody gives a shit about, that now is largely comprised of toothless rednecks and government informants. So I think that it would be lovely if you would crochet me a clan hood. That would be great. I will model it on stream. I will fulfill her fantasy.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
She is so
we need
weird.
a lot of white yarn.
A lot of white yarn, and I think that if you've ever seen a clan hood, it's got like a cross in the middle. If you could put a Star of David there instead of a cross, that would be really cool.
And I make a tutorial.
Can you imagine? The whole thing is so fucking ridiculous. Oh yeah, here we go, Nietzsche. Well, we've already seen that Kiwi Farms has put Belinda's dog in a clan outfit, right? I don't know if the curva has caught up with that yet.
God. This will be the most fun part when she's trying to Google curva and does not know how to spell it.
I love it. I love it. And no, I'm not going to translate it.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to be the head black woman in charge running around YouTube declaring that certain people are racist or they are marked safe from racism, then I have the full right and ability to fucking mock you on my channel because you're a joke, dude.
Especially with selective racism when we are looking at her audience.
Correct.
I'm just saying.
I know you're just saying. All right. Now, Karsten,
Yes.
who was giggling, Karsten saw Snow White. God bless him.
It was not planned. This is the only excuse that I have.
Oh, he's from Czechoslovakia, or she is from Czechoslovakia, knows what that means. Yes.
Oh, of course she does.
I mean, it's a word that I learned in Yiddish, but of course Yiddish is derived from German. So when I say kurva, it makes Karsten giggle, which is adorable. So I like saying the word kurva.
It is all over Eastern Europe.
Is it?
Up to Russia and down to almost the Middle East. There's nothing more precious than somebody yelling kurva all the time.
Well, you know that my parents told me, and I hope this story is true. You can tell me if the story is true, all right? My mother said, because she grew up in a household where the main language that her parents spoke when they didn't want the kids to understand was Russian, but there was Yiddish also. And so my mother and my father and my aunt were driving probably somewhere in Germany, and they saw a road sign that said gefährliche Kurve.
Not the gefährliche Kurve.
Yes. Yes. So it's gefährliche?
Gefährliche.
Gefährliche. Okay. So they saw gefährliche Kurve, and my mother almost had a heart attack because she was laughing so hard. What that translates to is it's an extreme curve in the road. Like it's a warning that there's... But gefährliche also means... What else does it mean, though?
In German?
Yeah.
Oh, gefährliche is gefährliche. It's dangerous.
Dangerous. So imagine a dangerous curva. And my mother thought, oh my God, be on the lookout for a dangerous curva. So anyway, that's how I learned the meaning of the word curva. Very sophisticated, polyglot family.
The good old days.
Yeah. So, we want to revive Yiddish around here. Why not? One word at a time. All right. So, Karsten,
Yes.
we are going to move on. Okay. What we're going to do is this. We are going to talk about Snow White. Karsten is going to tell us what he thought. And I told Karsten earlier, and he can stay or go during this segment. It's up to him. But a very determined Kiwi farmer did some digging into Becky's fiancé, Dakota, and found some very, very, let's say, spicy elements to this girl's background. And because she has turned basically into Becky's puppet master, I thought, you know what? All is fair. And with all of these reactors out there who are pointing at Amberlynn Reed and calling her a PDF and accusing her of all these things, I think that we need to take a look at Becky's fiancé. And the only reason that I'm doing this today is because I was going to do it tomorrow, right? Because I wanted to devote this entire stream to Snow White. But I did it today because I saw that apparently, I did not know this, Charlie Gold has kind of become Becky's informal advisor behind the scenes. Okay. And she tweeted out that she had contacted Becky and told her, you need to confront and you need to come clean about all these issues that are being raised on Kiwi Farms about the fiancé. And I thought, okay, well, I know that nobody else is going to jump on this because everybody's too busy kissing Becky's ass. So I thought, okay, I'll jump on it. Why not? Why not? And I was going to play a Kate Winslet video that she made. But unfortunately, Kate Winslet's video is full of copyrighted music, and I'm not in the mood to have my stream demonetized right away. So, but I can certainly drop it in chat. All right, Karsten, you go ahead and you give us your review of Snow White 2025.
It was an experience. I have thought for a while about where do I start. Maybe one of the most important informations is, first of all, that the theater was empty.
Right.
Me and my friend, we were sitting there alone. There was no fancy popcorn bucket, nothing.
Okay.
It was like, okay, this is happening now. Okay, not that we have been warned with weird trailers and the complete soundtrack that I mentioned last time that was available 1 week before the official premiere. Okay, the whole thing. We were warned. I was warned. And then it was too late because then the movie started. And when it was done, I was sitting there. It was not like Wicked, where you have to look for tissues or you are screaming, yelling because of the to be continued.
Right.
There was nothing, really nothing, except I was astounded.
Weren't you the one who told me that before the movie premiered, like you can go on an app and you can see how many tickets have been sold? And didn't you tell me that not a single ticket had been sold in Vienna?
I have going, every day to a random cinema here in Vienna, from small to big ones, to the Cineplex or Megaplex. And it doesn't matter which time I was clicking on in what kind of cinema, there was not one ticket sold. Not one.
Not one. That is absolutely astonishing. Not even hate watchers, as Cece said. Absolutely amazing. And we saw the same phenomenon. Well, we didn't see exactly the same thing here with Tyrone Magnus, who was looking around at all these theaters. And there were maybe 2 tickets sold in just the regular theaters, IMAX, whatever. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, you would think that all this bad publicity would bring out hate watchers or people who were curious. Nope.
Nope. But I would love, I'm not the one who's usually after a movie is talking to strangers in the cinema to ask for an opinion but in this case, I really would love that to talk to anybody. What was their expectation? What are they thinking now? What have they learned from this movie? Which I think is a very valid question because we talked about this before. When you are watching a fairy tale, what is the moral of the story? Why does this fairy tale exist?
Right.
What is anybody learning? Specifically, of course, children. What are children getting from it? What are they learning? And with this movie, they are learning you don't have to do shit and you are the star.
I got it.
That is the story, because Snow White is doing for almost 2 hours nothing.
Okay.
Absolutely fascinated. I was. Great English, Carsten. Fabulous. We saw this with other critics beforehand, that they have, who watched early premieres, that they said that she is not doing anything in this movie. And this was the most curious thing. How do you construct a movie around a lead character, or the title character in this case, and the character is doing nothing? I can confirm this. She is not doing anything.
Right. Right. I mean, if your whole idea is to strip the story of its original fairy tale premise, and you're going to get rid of the prince, and you're going to get rid of, or they tried to get rid of the dwarves and then shoved them back in, and you're going to do all this, then presumably you're going to be left with what we assume would be Snow White and the Huntsman. But you don't even get that. That's not even... No. Okay.
Because in Snow White and the Huntsman, at least the story was original to the part that, Snow White is a warrior. And there is physical fighting with the evil queen. And a lot of stylization, very dark or very, very light with the evil queen all in white. And there's a lot going on. But in this movie, it is... No. I mean, the original movie, fairy tale from 1812. Even in 1812, the Brothers Grimm were thinking, we want to teach children that don't trust anybody that you don't know, and don't take specifically stuff from strangers. Don't take anything.
Yay, Dee, who is not no name. Hello, Dee. How are you? It is so good to see you. I'm so glad you popped by.
Me too.
Now, before we get into the plot points and the issues with that, you brought up exactly what everybody else brought up, because this was something that I was super curious about. You told me that you, like everybody else who went to see this movie, I mean, when you go see a movie and you know that it's run wildly over budget, your first instinct is, okay, well, let's see what they spent the money on. What was your impression?
I have no answer.
That you sound like everybody else who saw it.
It looked like when you go to Disney World, and then there's suddenly Snow White or the evil queen coming around the corner, or you see a marketplace with standby people in costumes for a theme park. It looked basically exactly like this.
Okay.
You don't know when you see the sets. You don't know what is CGI, what is built. The costumes altogether of everybody are looking cheap. I'm sorry. They're really looking cheap. And we are very spoiled with Wicked. But unfortunately, Wicked and Snow White came out so close together that you have to compare them.
Correct.
You really have to. Specifically when Snow White almost cost double what Wicked did.
That's right. Oh, but you know what? We don't even have to look at Wicked, because you sent me some beautiful clips of the Cinderella live action, which cost under $100 million to make. And the costumes were exquisite, absolutely exquisite. You could see, I mean, I think that it was, the final tally was like $90 million. And the dresses were magnificent. The glass slippers were gorgeous. Everything about the movie was stunning. And this was years ago. So Disney does know how to make a live action movie based on a fairy tale, bring it in under budget, and really give the public something beautiful to look at. But what happened? This is what I don't understand. How could this story have gone so far off the rails? How could the production have gotten this far off the rails? It's incomprehensible, because when I first saw the clips and the costumes, I too thought, oh my God, they literally look like costumes that you would take off the rack or that you would buy off of Amazon, and you get it and it doesn't fit. It's too small. It's too big. It's polyester. It looks like crap. And, it is absolutely astonishing how cheap this movie looked. For all the money that was sunk into it, it's incredible.
And it does not make, the costumes also, they don't make really sense because they are not practical. Gal Gadot looks like she's 9 feet tall.
Right.
Maybe it's the power play that Snow White, because she is fairly short, they wanted to give it more power between them and evil, because Gal Gadot unfortunately is not evil. There is so much, Clara.
I get it. I get it. Well, let's talk about some of the plot points. Let's talk about her relationship with the dwarves. The dwarves that were clearly shoved in as an afterthought because the CGI was so terrible.
And I want to know what is on the cutting room floor from the very, very, very first version. I want to know if the 7 bandits of Jonathan, the not prince, are truly the dwarfs from the first draft.
Right.
Where one little person was together with 6 other normal people of different skin colors, sexual orientations, probably, the woke shit group.
Right.
That has nothing to do with the fairy tale. I really would like to know this, and then they thought, oh, okay, we have now released accidentally the first picture of a standby in a Snow White costume and these 7 bandits, and we are fucked. Because everybody's asking, what is this? What is this?
Right.
And now, okay, let's bring the CGI dwarfs in, and we are transforming the 7 first dwarfs into bandits for Jonathan. But Jonathan does not really need a group of bandits because he's not Robin Hood.
Right.
But also Jonathan is not needed because he's also doing shit in the movie.
Yeah.
He's also not doing anything except having a really, really, really cringy duet moment with Snow White where he's complaining about princesses.
Oh, okay, got it.
Which is by far the worst song of the whole movie.
Which is the one that will probably win the Oscar next year. Unless Stephen Schwartz really whips up some great new numbers for the second half of Wicked. I mean, it's always the shittiest Disney song that wins, isn't it? Or they're gonna enter it.
I mean, Snow White, Rachel Zegler has the one big song, "Wishing on a Wish."
Yeah.
Or "Waiting for a Wish," and this will be the one that is nominated for the Academies.
Yeah.
This will be the song. This is her song. And this song is even structurally not good.
Okay.
Because you have the highlight in the middle of the song. It starts slow, it ends slow. There's no blah moment. Like in Wicked, "The Wizard and I," or
Right.
"Defying Gravity," which all end on a highlight note.
Yeah.
And "Waiting for a Wish" does not have this.
Okay.
It's in the middle of the song.
Okay. Well,
And they cannot accept the only song that has this big end is the bloody song from the Evil Queen. But they cannot run the risk to let Gal Gadot sing live.
no, absolutely not.
They cannot do that.
Right. And it's sad, isn't it? Because, I mean, these are composers with a track record.
Oh, yeah.
You know, These are the guys who wrote the songs for The Greatest Showman. Thank you, Betsy. I appreciate you. Thank you
Thank you,
for the dono. I
Betsy.
appreciate you. And so you would think, well, they have experience writing for musical theater. They're not novices. They're not some people you pulled off the street.
And I swear to you, everybody, when The Greatest Showman came out, everybody was singing everywhere, either Never Enough or This Is Me.
Right, right.
And even if you don't know the titles, you know the songs from countless TikToks and countless YouTube shorts. It was so widely popular. And that these people could not come up with something better.
It's incredible.
Scary.
Well, you know what I think, honestly? This is covering the entire movie, the production of it, the decisions that were made, and so on. It is so obvious to me that there were way too many people interfering in the filming of the movie, rewrites of the script, all of that, and that it seems like they filmed like multiple movies and just kind of edited them together, that the plot points don't make any sense.
Which is so obvious. You know, I told you, for children, really small children who are running around in princess costumes and love all the Disney movies just because of the princesses, they have fun. I bet they have fun.
Sure.
Because they are not overthinking it like we are doing.
Right.
But in this case, even we are not overthinking because it is so in your face and so obvious. Again, for the children, it's great. The parents will think, "Oh my God, what happened? What have they done to our Snow White?" Referring to the animation movie, not to the original fairy tale.
I mean, one of the continuity errors that somebody pointed out, I don't remember who it was, but somebody pointed out that scene where she sees Jonathan through the bars of, I don't know where they were, and she had just come out of the water, and she hands him a crust of bread, and it's dry.
Yeah.
And so this person noticed it and said, how is it that with so many eyes on the production of this movie, they didn't notice this error, this filming error, this editing continuity error, you know? And that's just one of many, many, many examples of how you know that there were multiple movies that were filmed, or that there were multiple scenes that were filmed, and the poor editors had the task of smushing all these scenes together and turning them into what passes for a film, and realizing we've got a huge mess. And of course, they ran into the whole Aquaman 2 issue of reshoot after reshoot after reshoot. And when you get a movie that has to go through that many reshoots, you've got a problem.
Yeah. And I would love to know who was overlooking the reshoot.
Yeah.
If Mr. Director really was there for all the reshoot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I wonder what the editor is thinking, what everybody was thinking. How many times they have said during filming, "Oh, there's nothing that we can do now."
Yeah.
Or "What do you want me to do now?"
Right. So what did you think of the animals?
They are very, very cute, very, very animated. There's not one animal moment where you say, "Is that a real one?" Because they're consequent, completely out of the computer.
Sure.
When you show me screenshots from The Lion King or Mufasa,
Right.
is still, and you don't know that it is from the movie, you would think maybe here and there, "Wow, that is a great picture. Is that, I don't know if this is real or AI or whatever." But with these animals, they are all looking exactly out of the computer.
Yeah.
All of them. Especially the deer baby. Not baby, little deers there. Which has in the beginning fire red eyes. I don't know why.
Oh dear. Okay.
when it's in the shadows and the eyes are bright red and then it comes out of the shadow and it looks kind. Nobody knows why.
But see, this is the thing. You told me that the way that they incorporate Whistle While You Work into the movie, and I'm sorry, but this is one of my pet peeves, because whenever you have a studio that decides to dig into anything involving nostalgia, anything where people who are older remember the original version, and we have very strong feelings, because back then Disney was incapable of releasing a movie that didn't have a wonderful soundtrack. I mean, the songs are classics. And Whistle While You Work is one of them. And so what did they do with Whistle While You Work in this movie?
Story-wise.
Yes.
The motivation for the song in the movie is that the youngest of the 7 dwarfs is not talking.
Dopey.
Dopey, thank you, because in Germany they have different names.
Right.
And Dopey is not speaking, and so she is trying to teach him to whistle so that he would get confident and then later on speaks. And it works. He starts immediately to whistle, which is totally normal and totally easy to do for that you can whistle. And then they are going directly from there into the house and start Whistle While You Work. And she's explaining how her mother always whistled while she was working. And then she makes the dwarf clean up their house. Okay,
see, that is a major departure.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about that?
Because she in the animation movie, the dwarfs are she is cleaning the house as a thank you for the dwarfs are letting her stay overnight, and she was ruining the beds, and so she's cleaning up with the animals, which is a great reason why all the animals are there.
Correct.
And no, in this version, Miss Sackler was not here for it. No, she didn't want to clean, so she makes the dwarfs clean their own place.
Their own home, right.
So she is the intruder into the house and is not doing shit.
Okay, got it. Perfectly
Established. Our Snow White is not cleaning. She is a warrior, even though she's never fighting.
Okay.
She is. And it is so cringy because it does not make sense that this girl is going through the whole movie not doing anything and is the hero. She's not even killing the queen.
Which is crazy. And neither are the dwarves, by the way.
No. There's at the end is this cringe-worthy, really, my nails, all of them were starting. I wanted to pull. I wanted to. When the queen, who has actually magical powers, and is afraid, she has actually magical powers, and she is making a knife out of glass, out of nothing.
Okay.
She's one movement, and she has a beautiful knife out of glass, and she wants one of her guardians to kill Snow White because she does not do it herself. And then they cannot do it because they're suddenly all remembering who they were before the evil queen took over. And the one dwarf from the 7 bandits who have entered the castle, how, I don't know.
Okay.
Is standing on a balcony and is shooting the glass knife out of her hand. So a dwarf from the 7 bandits is saving Snow White's life, not one of the animation dwarfs. Okay. And then the queen is going back into the castle to the Mr. Magic Mirror, where the final showdown is. And the evil queen is destroying her own mirror and gets sucked into the mirror.
Okay.
That's it.
Wow. All right.
She's crumbling to black dust beforehand. # not racism. She's
Right.
crumbling into black dust, gets sucked into the mirror repairs itself, and Snow White is standing there. I'm a hero. I have not done anything, but I'm the hero.
That's wonderful. And just as a reminder, there is a dwarf in the Seven Bandits. So
One.
the question, one human dwarf.
Yep.
So the question is, if you were willing to cast one dwarf as one of the Seven Bandits, clearly back when they decided to eliminate the seven dwarves, thank you, Peter Dinklage, they decided to stick a token dwarf in with the Seven Bandits. And so
And
yeah.
it is so obvious that he is a token dwarf. It is
Correct.
so obvious. And it's not his fault. He was getting the offer and was thinking, oh, okay, great.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? But this is the other example, you see, of how that they filmed separate movies and had to, cobble them together into something like a coherent narrative. Where you have a dwarf, a human dwarf, in the movie, but you have the seven CGI dwarves, which has left the dwarf community very, very angry. And I noticed that Peter Dinklage has been very quiet ever since. Hasn't uttered a word, which is fine with me, you know. The mess that this movie has created. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you also. The whole point of sending the huntsman after Snow White is to kill her and to bring her heart back in a box.
Yeah. In a special box that the evil queen randomly owns.
Correct.
With a knife and a heart on the front where you open the box. This is just sitting around,
Sure. So, but in this movie, what happens?
He's asking, in this version now, he's asking, he's taking Snow White to the woods so that she can pick apples to later on bake pies and to give it to the poor people in the village to lighten their mood.
Got it?
This alone. Who is thinking of this shit? Well, she is there. Oh, yeah. And suddenly when she has this little apple thing going, picking apples thing going on with Mr. Huntsman, this is the moment where we see her in all of the dollar store glory costume. And you don't know where this dress is coming from.
You mean the blue one, the blue top with the yellow skirt?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
She's wearing beforehand poor people stuff. And then suddenly she's going into the woods to pick apples. And she's all dolled up with a red headband and a basket. And is starting to pick the apples. To bake pies for the poor people. To lighten their mood.
Got it.
Because they are so unhappy. Yeah. And then Mr. Huntsman is saying, okay, I cannot do it. Go.
Thank you, Snutter.
Hi,
Right.
Snutter. Go. And then she's fleeing into the dark, scary woods and is falling then into a hole. And then she's also there's the moment where she's all wet. And then she's coming out of the water, losing her red headband, which is an iconic identification thingy for Snow White. But she does not need that anymore.
I see.
And then she's meeting all the animals are coming and saying hello. So we are not getting the version of the Brothers Grimm where the huntsman is sending Snow White away. Suddenly a little wild pig is coming along. And he is cutting the pig open to get the lungs and the kidneys. Or was the liver? Oh, I think it was the liver. The lungs and the liver. And bringing this to the evil queen. And she lets them cook in salt water and is eating it.
Right.
Thinking, oh my God, I'm eating Snow White. Yeah, no, we don't get this moment. No.
No, there's no cannibalism in this movie.
No.
Oh, here's a great comment from Flolly Cower. I cannot even begin to tell you how worried I am about the live action remake of the Aristocats. All right. I had forgotten about this. So thank you for reminding me. Because I had been harping on and on to Karsten about Fantasia and how I would absolutely have a fucking cow if they decided to fuck with Fantasia. But the Aristocats, that was another movie from my childhood where I loved the animation. I loved all the characters. I loved the music was so good. Abraham DeLacy, Giuseppe Casey, Thomas O'Malley, O'Malley the Alley Cat. I remember this all these years later because the lyrics were so good. It was so jazzy, you know. Have they remade The Lady and the Tramp? I hope not.
No.
Oh, please, don't tell Disney I said that. Tell them to forget that I ever mentioned The Lady and the Tramp. No.
No. I have a question.
And yeah, see, this is part of the problem. Nobody
these are animated classic, and they have to stay like this because the solution for real life is, ironically enough, CGI. You cannot teach animals this stuff. You can't. Right. Are they using animals in the Daily Wire, Snow White? In the trailer, they have a squirrel and 2 deers.
Okay, and they're real
not showing
animals.
More.
Okay.
And they're real.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Fantasia is the thing. They tried to do a stage version because I did the workshop for this piece, but this show was so extraordinarily expensive that
I'll bet.
Canceled it.
Oh no, here's Nietzsche with bad news. They remade Lady and the Tramp in 2019. Interesting. That totally slipped by me. Yeah.
Hashtag me too.
Was it animated or
idea.
live action? What was that, Nietzsche? I don't remember that at all. But I wasn't checking for it, so
maybe we were too busy watching, I think, 800 videos about Snow White in the past month.
Probably. So, in other words, they just took the major plot points of this story and they either eliminated them or they remade them or they came up with these awkward solutions for non-existent problems. I mean, if they had just...
we are back in Snow White land, right?
Right. If they had just put the fucking dwarves in, they wouldn't have needed these bandits who were totally irrelevant and unnecessary. The dwarves would have been her support system, which is what they were supposed to be. And you wouldn't, but also they needed to put the bandits in because they had to take the prince out for some reason. And so they had to have something resembling a love interest, and that was Jonathan. But it's not terribly interesting. No. And then at the ending, there's kind of like what looks like a wedding, but it's not really a wedding. We just don't know what the fuck it is.
No, suddenly, Hecate would love this scene. Hecate, when you watch the ending, I'm just warning you, everyone is wearing white.
Oh,
Everybody.
No.
The whole village is wearing white. It is white flowers are falling from the sky, apparently. And the white flags, everything is white.
Oh, Penny asks, were they trying to turn her into a female Robin Hood?
I thought for a second they would.
That's what it looked like, yeah.
Yes, but again, Robin Hood was fighting for the right of the poor people. And she was not fighting anything.
Right.
Also, we cannot forget that when Snow White is away from... in the moment when the queen realized, and the mirror was saying for the first time, that the queen is not the most beautiful thing in the world anymore, she cut off Snow White's hair. This is why Snow White has this Lord Farquhar bob. For all the Shrek lovers out there. Oh God, what was my point? Nobody has ever seen Snow White, so nobody knows in this version how Snow White looks like.
That's right.
Nobody. But suddenly at the end of the movie, when she's coming back from the woods to the castle to confront the queen in this beautiful big red cape with the hoodie, where nobody knows where this is coming from. Suddenly everybody is realizing, oh my God, this is our Snow White. We haven't seen her in 15 years.
Exactly.
But this is our Snow White.
Exactly. So how the hell do you know who she is?
She does not tell them, but
I see.
everybody knows.
I get it. All right. Well, this is the other thing. I mean, if you look at the scenes from that white extravaganza
White party.
at the end of the movie, you see that in the village, it doesn't include that many extras. It's not that many people.
No.
And then you compare it to Wicked, where there were hundreds of extras.
Yeah.
And each and every one of them, like if you took a still shot of the extra scenes in Munchkin Land or in the Emerald City, and you zoomed in on each extra individually, you would see that each and every one of them was immaculately costumed,
Yeah.
beautifully costumed.
Not
and that
one
there was
costume is double. Not one.
not one. And that these costumes were crafted with tremendous skill and care and love. And then you see that they dressed all these villagers basically the same, as far as I can tell. Right. Okay.
One color coordination.
Right.
They all look like mud.
Yeah.
And when I compare the size, I have never counted them in either movie. But I think in Snow White, okay, I'm generous, 50 to 70 extras.
Sure.
50 to 70.
Right.
Wicked, between 150 and 250.
At least. I think that you're being very conservative in that estimate.
Because it's so fast and there are so many, you cannot count them all.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so nothing. This is the other thing, that when you have these big scenes in Wicked, they are all impressive. For whatever reason. You have to be impressed. And then you see Snow White. Nope. No. There's really nothing that really is impressing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not the music, not the acting, not the storyline.
Right.
No, nothing.
But you know what's funny is that I heard that, I mean, these critics on YouTube who were looking for every reason to criticize this movie were pointing out that the village, you know, it was supposed to be a German village in the 17th century. And it was very, very diverse. Okay, look, let's forget that we're in a German village. All right, let's forget that. But they did point out the diversity because they were so annoyed by the whole, you know, woke direction of the plot. I noticed that nobody said that about Wicked. Isn't that interesting? When you have the first shot of the Munchkins running into Munchkin Land through those 9 million tulips, by the way, and they're running into Munchkin Land, and you have Glinda in the bubble dog.
Yes, with the crown.
With the crown in that amazing steampunk bubble that she lands in. First of all, none of the Munchkins are small. They're all regular, like, size people.
Yeah.
And there is diversity in Munchkin Land, and not a single person has pointed that out. It doesn't
They have
matter.
not even tried, you know?
No.
They just took really the best of the best because they sound amazing. Every single one can act their ass off, and half of them are really good musical dancers. Really
Correct.
good.
Correct. Nobody cared. And I think that is, I mean, I know Cynthia Erivo is doing her best to try and like shove this woke agenda down everybody's throats. I've told you a million times, and I had to tell Negz the other day. I said, I adore Cynthia Erivo as long as she's not talking. When she gives an interview or gives a speech, I cannot with her. When she is singing, that's my Cynthia. And I will protect her and defend her to the death. Just stop giving interviews and stop with your pronouns and stop with the they, them, and all your bullshit, right? Because all that people care about when it comes to you is how superhumanly talented you are. Nobody gives a shit about how you identify. Nobody cares. Nobody's trying to persecute you or keep you down. Look at you. I mean, the world is your oyster, you know, in terms of roles, musically, everything else. So.
And all of this discussion, all of what you just mentioned, all of it started with the motherfucking Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Before, nobody said anything. Not with Mulan, the real-life version, or with Cinderella, with the very first big real-life version that we got.
Right.
And then Little Mermaid hit, and since then, wop. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has something to say. Of course, I have also an opinion. I don't give two shits if the mermaid is black, white, Asian, has 4 breasts and 2 vaginas. I don't care.
Right.
As long as she can sing her little ass off.
Right. I
And
mean,
she
the one complaint that you had that I remember of The Little Mermaid, the live action one, was that the underwater scenes were very dark, that there wasn't, that it wasn't bright the way it was in the animation, that there wasn't that like bright, upbeat sense of camaraderie the way you had in the animated version of it.
Yeah.
And you didn't understand why it was so dark underwater. It didn't make any sense because, you know, an underwater setting opens so many possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Especially when, with the big song Under the Sea.
Right.
That everybody knows.
Sure.
From the animation movie. When you compare it to the real life version, what they tried, Sebastian, the crab, is trying to convince Ariel, look, what we have all of this. Why do you want to go? And in the real life version, there's nobody there.
Yeah.
And all in the animation version, every little line that Sebastian is delivering, talking about how great Under the Sea is the comment is in the drawings, in the fish and what they are all doing.
Right.
And it fits every single time. Real life version, the ocean is half empty, and the fish are doing random stuff. It does not fit.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Right.
If I would be Ariel, I would leave that place. Yes.
Sure. I mean, I've spoken about, well, first of all, let's give a lot of credit to the actress who played the Little Mermaid, okay?
Halle Berry.
Because this girl, I mean, not only is she a huge talent, I mean, that cannot be denied. We can't take that away from her, and nobody did.
No.
But she was put at the center of a maelstrom of criticism and people talking about race swapping and about, you know, wokery and all that other shit. But she, unlike Rachel Zegler, I mean, she really created the blueprint of how to handle yourself when you are the actress at the center of a controversy. She was very classy. She, you know, she didn't pull a Cynthia Erivo and get all, you know, huffy and whatever. She promoted the movie beautifully.
Yeah.
She shepherded her, and she shepherded her career really well in that way.
Yeah.
That she didn't break under the pressure, and she didn't, she made no apologies. And she just let her talent shine, which was exactly the way you're supposed to do it, which is why it is so startling to me that Disney, I mean, look, they flew Mark Platt out to have a talk with Rachel Zegler, okay?
I cannot get over this.
I can't get over it either. And you and I were talking about the contracts that these people sign when they get cast in these movies. And I am just, I am astonished.
Think that as a Broadway actress and performer and being in the fucking West Side Story under Steven Spielberg, that she got enough input on when do I shut up?
Right.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
But you know what's crazy? Jenny Ortega is younger than Rachel Zegler. And Jenny Ortega has more common sense. Jenny Ortega knows how to manage her public persona. Jenny Ortega knows that she has been given an opportunity in an industry where the unemployment rate is like 99.9%, that she has been given the chance to do so many things, and that maybe it is better for her to care about her career and how to manage it than it is for her to offer up her ignorant opinions on whatever the issue du jour is. I mean, it's not just the thing about Palestine, right? It was also the quotes that she gave during the strike when she was talking about how, and I'm talking about Rachel Zegler now, where she said something about, well, if I have to spend so many hours in a princess dress, then I should get paid for all of those hours. And it's like, are you listening to yourself? You've got people who are in this picket line who have earned no money. They're not getting residuals. They're not getting hired. They are not getting the benefits that you're getting. And you are sitting here bitching because you have to put on a princess dress and prance around for a couple of hours in front of a camera, because we all know that there's a lot of downtime when you're filming a movie. So you really think that you should get streaming residuals for every single minute that you're wearing that princess dress? Honey, it doesn't work like that. What are you talking about?
And it was, for example, going back to Halle Berry. She was handling, which I thought her situation was way harder.
It was.
Way harder than the Snow White situation. And she was so good and professional that she landed the part of Nellie in the Color Purple in the real life, not real life, sorry, in the Broadway version of the movie.
Yeah.
And her career continues.
Correct.
Rachel Zegler, according to IMDb, movie or TV-wise, or even voiceover, has nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. While Gal Gadot is sitting at home eating bonbons and is waiting for the next 8 projects where she's already booked for.
Right.
Because also Gal Gadot knows exactly after the drama with Wonder Woman that there was after the second one, because it was not received as well as everybody was expecting. She decided, okay, I want a family, I want a bigger family. I take a step back after the discussions with the studios. And now Gal Gadot is back again, but also was able to do a little bit of Netflix in between. Or do here a little cameo and there in the Marvel universe. So good for her.
Right.
You see how extremely valuable the education for artists or performers are. But Rachel, she is what is it? She 23 or 24?
She's 23.
Yeah, she's not 16.
Right.
She really should know better.
She should. And you would think, I mean, listen, if I was starring in a movie like Snow White and I had gotten lucky enough to be cast in West Side Story, and now I'm in Snow White, and the fucking producer of the movie flew to New York to have a talk with me, to have a sit down with me, and I ignored him. I mean...
And also ignored him to the extent that she had thought it is a great idea to film herself in an empty theater of Snow White watching her own movie and put it on TikTok. Imagine.
I mean, just the visual of that. The visual of that is, it says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It says a lot. You are in an empty fucking theater. You are surrounded by no one for your own movie. Do you not understand what the optics of that look like? I guess you don't.
And I really would also, I always forget this. I would like to know how the last Hunger Games movie has suffered because of her.
That's a
Even
really
though
good
she-
question.
Even though she was not even the lead. She was
Right.
just a side character in a allegedly weird Southern accent singing songs.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to know how many people said, oh no, not Rachel, I cannot watch this. I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she was already so annoyed and hated at that moment.
That's right. That's right. I mean, she really needs to take a look at Amber Heard, you know? Because I'm sorry, you're 23 years old. And for every one of you, there are hundreds who are just as pretty, if not prettier, who are more talented, who have better voices, and who will be cast in these movies and do as they're told and not be a pain in the ass. Again, the fact that she really believed that this movie was her vehicle and that she could go out and make these damaging statements over and over and over again and play with other people's money is absolutely incredible. And the old Disney would never have tolerated this.
No,
Never.
no. And what do we have now? The wife of Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
In the business for, I don't know, 15 years.
right.
Does not know how to behave.
No.
Ryan Reynolds thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. Does not know how to behave.
No. No. No.
Something is really off.
Yeah, something has gone very wrong. And I don't know. I mean, we don't want to return to the old days where they fixed up movie stars and fake relationships to cover up, you know, homosexuality, or that somebody's marriage was falling apart, or that somebody, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, we all saw that with Rock Hudson and with all these other movie stars. We don't want to go back to those times, but there is something to be said. And I know it's impossible in these days with social media. It cannot happen. But there is something to be said for maintaining a kind of distance and mystery. I mean, I think, look at Tom Cruise, right? Look at Tom Cruise. I sent you.
Clara, tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the trailer.
Yeah.
Great. That man knows how to promote a movie.
And he
He
knows
knows.
how much he's worth. His
Right.
self-worth. He knows what he's representing. And how far
Yeah.
he can go.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, after that disaster where he fired his publicist and he went on like he went rogue, basically. And, you know, he was on, I think it was the Today Show, giving his ignorant opinions on postpartum depression and psychiatry. And then he went on Oprah and jumped up and down on the couch, which, by the way, infuriated Spielberg
Yeah.
because he was supposed to be promoting the War of the Worlds. And instead, the story turned away from the War of the Worlds. Nobody was talking about that. Everybody was talking about Tom Cruise going crazy, jumping up and down on the couch. And then I guess that his people pulled him together and said, listen, you've got to cut this bullshit, right?
Yeah.
You've
And
got
he
to
did.
stop. Yeah, and he did.
He had his moment. And then for whatever reason, he decided, okay, no, this is not the way that I want to go with my life and my career. No.
Right. Right. He had worked too hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
And now look at him, you know. I sent you that publicity still from the trailer where he's hanging off the side of a helicopter, I think. And I'm thinking, that's our
Or
Tom.
whatever.
That's him. That's our Tom.
Yeah.
And I'm sad to see the Mission Impossible franchise come to an end, but I think that he's smart enough to know that he's not getting any younger, that these stunts are so complex and so dangerous that maybe it's time to just go out on a high note. And I love the Mission Impossible franchise. I love it. And it's because of him.
Yeah. And honestly, I would wish it will not happen, of course, but I think it would be clever. After last one was in the Oppenheimer Barbie year, and because Oppenheimer Barbie took everything in that summer,
Right.
that they would re-release the last Mission Impossible maybe for 2 weeks
Yeah.
before the last one, so that everybody can come after 2 years up to speed. What happened in the last one? Okay, here we are in the storyline, and next week we go watch the last one.
Right. Right. Oh, and because I have you here, I finally decided to turn the tables on Karsten. Because Karsten is the huge bully in my life who convinces me to watch things because he says so.
Oh, I thought you will destroy my career again. Sorry.
No. And then I become obsessed and become part of a cult because of Karsten. It's totally his fault, by the way. I take no responsibility here. I have no agency whatsoever. He was the one who got me hooked on Wicked, because he insisted for weeks that I go see this movie, which I did. So I have been pushing him for a year to watch Oppenheimer, which he finally did.
Yes.
And?
In 2 days, because I needed a break. After
Right.
the first hour, I needed a break. It sounds so corny, but to a point, I mean, I'm a gay man, so I am corny and dramatic. But this was too much, and for fuck's sake, Christopher Nolan does exactly how to make a movie
Yes.
for $100 million.
Oh,
A masterpiece.
Scythe, Karsten's channel is in the description box. And if one of the mods would please drop the link to his channel in chat, I would really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah, Oppenheimer is a masterpiece. It is and it's
From the first frame
from the first frame. I agree. And
to
I
the
will say,
fucking last shot.
if
Sorry.
we can be shallow for a second, because you've got a straight woman and a gay man sitting here. It is an all-male cast primarily. And I told Karsten that when I was watching the movie, I was looking at some of these scenes, and I looked at one of these actors and I thought, God, that guy looks so familiar. He's so handsome. I wonder who that is. And I was alone in the theater, and I fired up IMDb and I said, holy shit, that is Josh Hartnett. When did he become a strapping, handsome man? What was that all about?
I hated him in Halloween. I really did. And then I totally forgot about him because there was not so much going on. And when you told me, Carsten, when you watch Oppenheimer, Josh Hartnett,
Right.
I was sitting here, oh, hi.
He was so handsome in that movie. And it was so great because the way that Christopher Nolan cast these heartthrobs from the 80s and 90s in this movie, like Matthew Modine is in it, love him. And then, of course, Robert Downey Jr., who is superb in this film.
Gary
Superb.
Oldman, even though he had just one scene.
Gary Oldman, I don't even know if he was credited in the movie, but he stole the show in that scene because he was so incredible. And Karsten watched the first hour, which meant that he didn't see the Trinity test.
No.
And then when he
next
saw
day.
Trinity and he realized, holy shit, this is not CGI. This was all filmed
Practical effects.
practical
no
effects.
CGI, the whole movie. Astounding. And I felt, I told you that I'm Gen X. I was born 71. And so I knew about American history from the point, let's say, late Cuba, Vietnam, and go on. And I felt really stupid because I felt so uneducated when it came down to, okay, what happened during the First and Second World War in America?
Right.
I only know the story part of the Americans when they came over to save Europe from Hitler. So I was, on one hand, very happy to get the education through that movie. But on the other hand, I felt so stupid. I really did.
Well, most people don't know that story. They
But
don't.
they tell it so beautifully that even me as a fucking German could understand, okay, this character is this. It was so well written and well told.
Yeah.
Then also Cillian Murphy, he killed me because everybody was acting their little tush off, being in most of them in parts where you would not expect them to be. Best example, Robert Downey Jr. And then there's this quiet man, this
Right.
quiet young man in the suit with the hat, immediately identifiable in everything in the movie. And you know exactly what you are getting with him. He has no surprises.
Right.
He is giving you as an actor everything, what he can. And sometimes it is next to nothing. And then he's doing with his face everything when he's sitting with with the jury to explain everything.
Right.
These were my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
How they fucked with him and how he was able to bounce back to a certain point.
I mean, only Christopher Nolan, or he's one of the few directors I can think of who could make a congressional hearing interesting or a disciplinary hearing interesting.
And I
And-
told you before Oppenheimer came out that this is the stuff that I was scared about. I love me a good judging, drama, everything.
Right.
But I thought, oh my God, with my English, I will not be able to understand anything. Because they are coming so much together, the history, politics, his private life, and of course the science language in English. But I could, and this is a thank you to Christopher Nolan. He was able to tell this story not with simple stuff, but in a way that you could understand it.
Right.
And you could follow easily. This was why I was also dumbfounded after the first hour that I was able to follow this whole thing.
Right.
My God, what a good movie. Fucking hell. And
Superb.
I'm not angry about anything that had to do with the Academy Awards when it comes down to Barbie. Now I get why this movie was winning everything. And Barbie had not a slight chance, not even, no.
And the thing
No.
is, we've all watched the Oscars where somebody has won because the Academy just gets worn out and says, all right, this person has been in the business for so many years. They've been nominated so many times. They've never won. So, okay, let's just give it to them, which is exactly what they're going to do with Diane Warren at some point, sometime
Yeah.
in our lifetimes. I mean, the woman is not getting any younger. But you cannot make that claim with Robert Downey Jr. winning or Christopher Nolan winning or anybody involved in that project winning because it was so superb. So superb.
A wonderful movie. Wonderful, clever, I had not, at least I hadn't the feeling that anything was exaggerated. Not anything. This is how it was. Even Matt Damon was great.
Matt Damon was fantastic in that movie.
We all know this Matt Damon. But no, he was fabulous.
It was great comic relief, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who
It was
would have
wonderful.
thought you bring Matt Damon in for love?
Right. And I was so pleased to see Tom Conti in that movie as Einstein because the role was so small,
Yeah.
but at the same time so incredibly important.
And they did not a parody of him.
No.
He was real. He was a real person in this time period. Having these amazing opinions. Thank you again for the writing.
Yeah. Exactly. It was an exceptional movie. And all
And
every
again, a big Hollywood movie.
right.
A real Oscar movie.
That is
Not
a movie
Anora.
not Anora. That is the movie that will withstand the test of time. 100%, no question about it. I think that the last time that I was this excited for an Academy Awards ceremony and to see everything go to one movie was Slumdog Millionaire, because I adored that movie and it was incredible. And I want to point out something about Slumdog Millionaire. The reason that I'm so grumpy about the best song category and the best score category and all that is that Slumdog Millionaire showed how to do it properly. I mean, A.R. Rahman is a legendary composer in India. And so the fact that Danny Boyle snagged him and got him in this to participate in this movie is incredible. But every single song in Slumdog Millionaire is incredible. And I'm sorry, but when I see the songs that are nominated now, and they're so bland, and they're so much like all of them, they just kind of flow together in their lack of what can I
Particularly
say?
this year.
Oh, it was awful.
Really, really bad.
It was awful, awful. It was awful. I mean,
Thank you, Amelia.
the songwriting at Disney is so bad. It is so bad. And these other composers, it's just so lacking. Like, I was really excited when Gravity won for best score, because that score perfectly fit the plot of the movie. And it was so good that when I watched that movie in the theater, I noticed the score.
Yeah,
And I
it
said,
was part of the movie. It was
That's right.
storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. But now everything is like so cookie cutter. Nobody wants to be offensive. Nobody wants to step out of line. And it's a shame. It is a real shame. But I'm really glad. I'm really, really glad that you enjoyed Oppenheimer. I knew you would eventually.
And it was not only, I don't want to sound crazy, it was not only because of Josh Hartnett.
No,
Just saying.
no, he doesn't have that large of a role in the movie.
No. But every time he came in, he was on screen, it was a moment.
I mean, imagine that a movie is so well made that you have a bunch of actors who are sitting around, you know, writing on a chalkboard, and they're talking about theoretical physics, and it is riveting.
Yeah.
It's riveting. You don't understand a word they're saying, but it is riveting to watch.
And you are noticing that it is continuing the story. It is what they are saying now in this moment is important. And this is fulfilling enough for me.
I agree. Now, I want to pivot since I have you here. And you and I talk every day, but it's not often that I get you on stream. And I appreciate you. So we are going to
I
pivot
like to be here. I like to be with you.
We are going to pivot to another topic, which is
Okay.
it involves gay men. Yes, I said it. It involves gay men. Yeah.
Is this now turning into a homophobic stream? Oh no!
It
oh,
very
no.
well
what
may.
Will we do?
It very well may. It very well may. That's why
Are
I
we
need you
talking
here.
about Zachary Michaels, the fag? Oops, who said this? This was terrible, Carl.
We are talking about the gamut. Okay. I told you that I noticed since I've started reading Reddit for the first time that there has been a tiny rebellion breaking out among certain members of the community who are posting on Reddit. And I noticed that it's very interesting what people have to say, which is that, and this has largely been driven by Jordy, but mostly by this reaction channel called The Ankle. All right. You sent me a video.
I'm fairly new to the ankle, I'm just saying.
Don't watch his stuff. You really just don't watch it. You sent me a video today by that guy, Leo. And I told you when I was in the hospital, it popped up in my recommended. And I watched him, and I thought he was harmless, you know. I thought that he was just like some fat gay guy who was commenting on Amber Lynn and her diet, and I thought, oh, God, okay, well, all that we need is one more person throwing their hat into the ring, talking about her and not being able to stick to a diet, whatever. But I thought, okay, well, big deal, you know. But the problem is that the larger ones, Jordy, I don't know to what extent Zach,
Alex?
I don't watch Alex, so I don't know what he has to say, but the ankle specifically, and I'm going to throw Mr. Snowflake in there too, okay, who's straight, but I'm going to toss him in. I can tell you, and I feel liberated in saying this, I feel like I'm free at last. I can say what I think. I am really getting sick and fucking tired of these men because I don't give a shit if you're gay or straight. You're still a man, and you are offering your opinion and your views on women's menstruation, gynecological cancer, and other issues that you do not understand. I don't give a shit how many female relatives you have, how many female friends you have. You will never understand what it means to have to go to the emergency room because of really, really bad period pain, which is something that the ankle, I guess, criticized Destiny for. Like, why would you go to the emergency room because you have period pain? Well, because it could be a sign of something very serious. Endometriosis, any number of other conditions.
In general, and in our community, especially in girl world, with everybody being way overweight.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I wish that all these men would put a fucking sock in it. All right? You do not understand a lot of things about the female body. And I don't understand why gay men give themselves permission to talk about these matters. They're still men. You're not medically trained. You know, if you were a gynecologist, if you were a gynecological nurse or somebody like that, and you had an opinion based on experience handling these matters, I would say, fine, I don't care what gender you are. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. But if you're just some random guy and you want to use a woman's periods, cancers, infertility, whatever the case may be, as a way to judge her when you don't understand what the ramifications are, I'm sorry, but we can't just single out the ankle and say that he's the worst culprit. No, he's not. So is Jordy. So is Mr. Snowflake, who is hetero.
Unicorn Pondu.
Oh, see, I don't watch Unicorn Pondu. I don't know anything about Unicorn Pondu. Is that another one?
He had an opinion on now that Foodie has allegedly a boil in the FUPA area, and she's going allegedly tomorrow to a hospital. She wants a female doctor.
Yeah.
So he had to say something, of course, about that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Chantal was explaining that maybe after the weekend, there's more personnel and more doctors in the clinic. And so her chances would be greater to have a female doctor.
Right.
And he was saying, not in quotes, no, basically that, give me a second. Then it cannot be that important.
Oh, I see.
If she can choose, if she wants to choose to go to a female doctor, so it's not an emergency.
That is a very strange take. That is a very, very strange take.
Because in his opinion, she should go today and take the doctor that she can get.
I see.
And not the doctor she wants, maybe tomorrow.
Right.
When it is down to a fucking boil.
Right.
It's not that she is bleeding from her uterus 6 gallons of blood in the moment.
Right.
It's a boil. And I allow myself to say something about a boil because a boil is gender neutral. Everybody can have boils everywhere.
Right. Right. Well,
that he was not accepting that she wants to go to a female doctor because it is in the FUPA area next to her leg.
Right.
I understand that she wants to go to a female doctor.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I mean, I can tell you, speaking personally, I have always insisted on going to a female gynecologist. Always. Sometimes I've had no choice. I've had to go to the emergency room and there was a man there and I didn't sit around and pitch a fit and insist on, well, no, I'm going to wait for a woman. No. I mean, if it was serious enough, of course, I would see a man. That's not a question. But if I had a choice, if I could wait and I had to pick, I would always pick a female doctor. And the reason is that you can have all the best medical training in the world. You can be a great gynecologist or a great, cancer surgeon on gynecological cancers. But a female doctor will understand that there's like a whole other dimension to whatever it is that you're going through. And I mean, not all of them are terribly sensitive. They are medical professionals and they have to be realistic and they have to tell you what's going on. They have to tell it to you like it is, but they understand that there's another dynamic to it. And I've always picked female gynecologists. Always. Always. No offense to men, but this is a choice that I've made. And I think that a lot of women make the same choice.
You can show me hours of video footage and pictures and send me to conferences where I learn everything in theory about childbirth.
Right.
For hours and days and weeks, I will never understand how it feels to give life into this world or to be going through a pregnancy, to go through any of that.
Right.
Because I can't. And it's not that our fat ladies are fucking up enough already, so that you easily could leave that topic out in general. Because I don't think it's entertaining.
No, it isn't entertaining.
It's really not.
And there's a streak of cruelty to it that, and unfortunately, and the thing that saddens me is that I see that a lot of the women in the community participate in this bullying and dogpiling on this topic, which is really disappointing, but it's something I've come to expect. I mean, I told you today, and I've told this story before on my channel, that when you are told by a doctor at any age, whether you are older or younger, it doesn't matter, that your reproductive system has to be removed in order to save your life. And you have not had children. And let's say that you have reached that point and you never even wanted kids. You may not even like kids. You may say, well, okay, well, what's the big loss, whatever. However, when that verdict comes down and you are told by a doctor, it's all got to come out, it does have an impact on you. It does something to you. Because that decision is being made for you. And you all of a sudden you say, wait, hang on. Well, what if I want to have kids somewhere down the line? Well, you can't, because everything's coming out. Ovaries, fallopian tubes, uterus, everything is coming out. And it really affects you. And I remember when Chantal and Amberlynn talked about that, about the loss. And I don't remember which one of them said that there was a kind of mourning period. And everybody dogpiled that person and made fun of them. And it's like, I get it. I get it. I understand what that's like. It's like, it's over. It's finished. There's nothing that you can do. And I told you, and I've also said this on my channel, that when the cancer specialist told me that I had to go to the hospital immediately to remove what I had. And the first thing that I said to her was, well, is it possible to preserve some of my eggs? And she's like, no, you don't understand what I'm telling you. You have much bigger problems. Your ovaries are full of tumors. We cannot preserve your eggs. We can't do it. And I just sat there and I thought about it for a minute, and I knew she was right. But at the same time, I thought, wow, it's really done. Like, even if I wanted to get, I don't know, a surrogate or something, I can't do it because it's finished. And it really, and I had never been pregnant, and so it does something to you. It affects you. And so I would appreciate it if these men stopped with their horse shit, stopped with their judgment, stopped with their toxic, disgusting opinions, and stop using being gay as a get out of jail free card and a way to judge women's bodies and women's gynecological issues. They're not funny. It's not amusing. And if the women in this community had a backbone, they would stand up to these creators and say, fuck you. It is not for you to pass this judgment on women. It is not.
Yeah.
You know?
But here's the thing, Clara. You have a very straightforward opinion about all of this. The whole topic, all of it. Amber Lynn and Chantal, they're making it so easy for everybody to join in on the conversation because they are using what happened to them as content.
Right.
As something that they can laugh sometimes about, but when they need it for content and to be serious, then suddenly it's a problem.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware of that.
So they have no straight line that they are going, and so the audience is more tempted to join in, which of course does not make it right.
No,
Not
it
even
doesn't.
close. And I talked about this in my 50th birthday stream on my channel, and when I was due to cancer losing one of those.
Right.
That I immediately after the operation that my sperm is in a cryo clinic in Germany and I cannot let go. I can't. I will one day. Because paying €3,000 a year for sperm in a cryo clinic is it's 3,000 a year.
That's a lot.
But it is again, this is hard to let go, and so in this case, I can really relate to you to the point when you say that you didn't have the possibility for something similar.
Right.
Because it was that urgent.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I want to show you one thing, and then we're going to move on to Becky's weirdo fiancé. All right, so I found this article, and it made me very angry, and this is tied into the... it is tied into the stream that I did the other day about how fucked up the United Kingdom is.
Oh, that was a fun one.
We have another case which has made me see red. Let me bring it up. Now, as you well know, because I have talked about it, the United Kingdom has bent over backwards at these immigration courts to avoid deporting dangerous men, right? They won't deport rapists because they might, face some terrible persecution in their home country.
Oh, what a shame.
They can't deport some guy who is a criminal because his kid can't eat Albanian chicken nuggets. He has to stay in the UK and eat chicken nuggets in the UK. All this other bullshit. Yeah. Well, here we have a case that is absolutely ghastly. Let me see if I can make this bigger.
I have not worked in the UK since the pandemic. Since Brexit.
Okay, so here we have a woman, an Afghan woman, who is about to get deported. An Afghan woman who risked her life to defend human rights in her home country before fleeing to the UK has been told by the Home Office it is safe for her to return after officials rejected her asylum claim. Mina, not her real name, worked for Western government-backed projects and was involved in training and mentoring women across Afghanistan, which left her in grave danger even before the Taliban took over in 2021. Okay. The Home Office has previously generally accepted protection claims from women like Mina, who could be targeted by the Taliban because of their high-profile work empowering women and who have provided evidence of their work with Western governments. But in the most recent data for the last 3 months of 2024, immigration statistics show 26 Afghan women had their claims rejected. All right. Although Mina explained in her Home Office asylum interview of the danger she faced in Afghanistan because of the work she did, a Home Office decision maker who rejected her claim concluded that it is considered that you do not face a real risk of persecution or harm on your return to Afghanistan on the basis of your claimed adverse attention by the Taliban. Get this, this is the kicker. The refusal letter adds, you likely have a great support network due to your occupation. There are no compassionate factors in your case that warrant a grant of leave to remain outside the immigration rules. And it says, many of those Mina worked with prior to the Taliban takeover are either in hiding or have fled the country, and these support networks have largely been destroyed.
Okay.
And of course, the Home Office is not commenting on the case.
I guess it is comparable to her safety, and going back to Afghanistan is on the same level, being gay for Palestine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. And this would not have hit so hard if it hadn't been for the ridiculous way that the Home Office bent over backwards to keep dangerous men in the UK. And
While
found,
this woman was actually doing something in Afghanistan.
yeah, that put her life at risk. Seriously did put her life at risk. So, okay. All right, UK. All right, UK, you have gone crazy, and I am very sorry. Okay, so let's take a look at Becky's fiancé. Her name is Dakota.
I don't know much about her.
Okay, so here we have Dakota. This, I'm going to put this link in chat because you guys have to take a closer look at it. There's things in this thread that I cannot post on YouTube.
Back in a sec.
Okay, sure. All right. So I know it's hard to read. Let me blow it up. Let me try to blow it up. All right. All right. So basically, what these posts talk about is her history on social media. Now, one of the things that's been noticed on the farms is that a lot of the critical postings about Becky and about this Dakota girl have been flushed down the memory hole of Reddit. And Reddit is really doing yeoman's work in trying to delete these subreddits and trying to keep this information off of Reddit. I don't know why. Okay. It seems like the only person who cannot get his disgusting snark thread taken down is Ethan Klein. You know,
Which
Trisha
is
Paytas.
astounding.
Right. Trisha Paytas could get hers taken down. Hassan got his taken down. But Ethan Klein is unable to get this bullshit, abusive crap taken down off of Reddit. But here we have, okay, and so Haterade is the farmer that has been posting these updates. I was curious about how aggressively all info about Dakota is being locked down, hidden, and banned from Reddit. So I decided to take another peek at what other social media accounts she might have had in the past. What is she hiding? Okay, now some of you guys are going to have to help me. I'm an idiot. I don't know what Shota is. S-H-O-T-A. I don't know what that is. But I guess that it's going to mean something to people. The weirdest thing I found so far after a quick search was she into Shota. I guess she was. So here she is. And I'm not going to go over all of that. But apparently she had a Tumblr account where she went by Dave Strider. And it says, okay, which was, all this was found from her Dave Strider blog.tumblr, whatever, Tumblr accounts, which was found from her tagging things about herself with hashtag circuitry, which was documented earlier in the Amber Lynn thread here on Kiwi Farms with all the steps of how these accounts were found. Okay, so there she is. And it's just the standard Tumblr bullshit. And it says here, her name is Dakota, nickname BB, age 20, gender baby boy.
Sure.
So that's a gender. Okay.
Of course it is.
Sexual orientation, me. Nationality, white. That's not a nationality, but okay. Now, she was married, and it says relationship married to me and rap dad. Okay. And it says, random fact, he fell for me at first sight because he's gay as fuck. Okay. So here's some stupid Tumblr posts that,
He felt for me because I'm okay.
yeah. Okay, here she is begging for a Hulu account from people on Tumblr. Does anyone, and she goes by Dave Trider, whatever. Okay. Does anyone have a Hulu account that I could borrow? I'm stuck at a friend's house having a panic attack, and I really want to distract myself with some Broad City and Steven Universe. Okay, so now we understand how she wormed her way into Becky's heart. And then here are her tattoos, whatever. Here is one of the things that I cannot show on YouTube. Okay, so you guys are going to have to click on this on your own computers. I can't do it. I can't show you. Dakota also had a porn blog to house a collection of incest porn about the Homestuck kids. All right. And it's under here. You have to click on this. I'm not going to. All right, this is the part that people are really seizing onto. All right. Shota is basically anime porn about little boys who visibly look like children. Well, isn't that nice? All right, well, I appreciate that. So I guess she was into Shota. All right. I'm sorry, I'm not really into like anime and Japanese subcultures, so I can't, I'm glad that I have your help here. Thank you, Sophia. All right. Last one for a while, because I don't want to triple post ever again as I find more. There's so much on Dakota's old blogs to read. This isn't even me doing a deep dive, just a surface level look into images she's posted. As a grown woman in her early 20s, she requested her followers, the majority comprising of 13 and 14-year-olds, according to the responses, to fill out a cuddle application, which she would then accept or deny.
Sorry, how old?
13 and 14. Mm-hmm. She accepted them all, gave compliments on the kids' appearances, and talked about messaging them on Skype. Okay. The forms included requests for their photos, their phone numbers.
Wow.
And asked if they'd like kisses with their cuddles. It's giving Onision vibes. So here's an example of a cuddle application. And you've got Catelyn, 14 years old, gender fluid, not comfortable giving out her phone number. All right. And there are more. Right. Okay, and I'm not going to click on this because these kids are all underage, and so you guys can check it out on your own. When people tried to politely call Dakota out on this creepy behavior toward 13 to 14-year-olds, Dakota didn't understand why her behavior was creepy. So it says, I am very concerned with that cuddle application. What concerns you about it? And this was, a while ago. All right.
Hello, Miss ATX.
She would also host submit a selfie events where kids would send her selfies of themselves, and she would again comment on their appearance. That is a very Onision type behavior. That is exactly what Onision was criticized for years on the platform. Knowing full well the ages of her followers, she requested her followers send her kink ideas. And Dakota would rate the kinks with a smile or frown depending on how much she liked them. If she really liked the kink, she'd add extra smiles. The submitted kinks included bondage, strap-ons, etc. Okay. I looked up the ages of the characters from her incest Homestuck porn blog, and the Homestuck kids were 13 for a big portion of the story, before a time skip when they were 16. So as a woman in her 20s, she was interested in porn about 13 to 16-year-olds. I thought that was gross, but when I saw her acting inappropriate towards real 13 to 16-year-olds around the same time, that's when I thought, so she's a creep. She also went through a weird phase where she'd post pictures of her boyfriend, husband, I'm not going to say his name, shirtless, naked, no genitals shown, thankfully, and asleep. In one, Dakota said he was on her bed, which weirdly was a bare mattress without any sheets. Most of the photos looked like he didn't know he was being filmed, much less uploaded to Tumblr. She'd casually drop selfies of herself with Cody looking naked in the background. Dakota's followers would ask what was going on with the guy in the background, and Dakota would ignore the comments only to upload more shirtless pictures of Cody later. As far as I could tell, he wasn't involved in the blog and didn't seem to be doing anything wrong. He was an innocent, unknowing prop for photos. They seemed to be in a relationship between 2011 and 2015. Dakota called him her husband at several points before he disappeared. I could make an entire post about him, but as far as I can tell, he was innocent, so I'm leaving him be for now. I wonder if Dakota got pregnant around 2015 near the end of her relationship with him. She went completely dark on Tumblr in 2016 after showing nothing but selfies that were cleavage and up. The last she showed him was around Christmas 2015. She claimed to have a 7-year-old autistic son on July 2nd, 2022 on Reddit, which may fit the timeline, but this is all speculation until I read more of her posts. And here's Ask My Dominatrix, who says, asking 13 to 14-year-olds for their selfies with addresses, phone numbers, and kinks. Such a shame Dakota can't get the farms banned. This woman is a predatory creep. All right. So I dropped all that stuff in the chat. There was a challenge that was issued on the farms, which I decided to take up. And that is to make this public. The farmers asked if anybody would make it public, and I think that the consensus was that I probably would, because I could give a fuck less about Becky, and I'm tired of her shit. And I'm not here to protect her or anybody in her orbit. So, challenge accepted. I made it public. I talked about it. I think it's weird. Like I said, I was going to wait to discuss this until Becky replied to it. Let's see if Charlie managed to convince her to say something about it. I don't give a fuck about Becky. I don't care what her explanation is. My objection here is that if people like Snowflake and Jordy and others who have been accusing ALR of being a PDF for weeks now, if not months, do not talk about this, then we will know exactly what they are made of. And that will be absolutely no surprise.
My prognosis is that they will still eat up Becky and Destiny and all their live streams until there's nothing left. And then they tap into this because there's more content for them to get then.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They will use this later on.
I agree with you. But see, this is the problem with going around making these wild accusations against people. Mm-hmm. Julia, who made a post? Becky did? Let me check it out. Hang on. Kinda. I'm guessing she made a post on her community tab. Posts. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's a long one. All right, good.
I just wanted to ask if it's a paragraph.
Oh, it's several.
Oh, no.
So we have breaking news here. All right. Am I sharing it? No, I'm not. Here we go. I know you can't read it. I'll read it for you. My next video will be up in the next couple of days. I already had it recorded, and I'm trying to finish editing it as quickly as possible. But all these newest Kiwi Farms leaks came out, and I've been a mess. Well, isn't that a shame, Becky? I feel like this all needs to be addressed now and on its own, but a whole video on my channel about something I didn't do myself and about someone who isn't a public figure didn't feel right. And I decided that because the video that is coming out soon is all about my past and taking responsibility for my own actions, it didn't make sense to put it in there either, so I'm going to talk about this here. I want to say first that my now ex-partner and I are currently separating. Uh-oh. So Dakota's out of the picture, huh? Some of you may not believe me. Some of you may think she is an irredeemable person. I've seen for myself what she has said and posted in the past. It was wrong. There is nothing else I can say. Interacting with minors in any inappropriate way is wrong. This is not, by the way, remotely comparable to Amber Lynn saying that she had a crush on Billie Eilish, okay? A person with whom she had no contact. A celebrity crush. I mean, this is totally different. Blah, 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 blah. Whether it had to do with fandoms or past trends or anything, it doesn't matter. It is inexcusable. I don't want anyone to think that I won't condemn these things. While I don't agree with what she did, I don't think she is a danger or a predator. I can say that. Can't say that. I have gotten to know her and her past very intimately, and I believe she is not a harmful person. She truly was open with me about everything and was accepting of me and my own baggage. Okay, well, I don't think that your own, well, never mind. But still, even she was horrified by her resurfaced accounts and posts on Tumblr from 10 years ago. I can't and don't want to defend her past actions, and she doesn't want me to either. We talked and went through everything, and we decided together it would be best to separate because neither of us see a way forward from this for multiple reasons. Okay, well, I can interpret that in several ways. She is ashamed, and I am confused and hurt, even though I still love her. But regardless of how I feel, I want to say this. It is terrifying being under the eyes of hundreds of thousands of people. It sure is, Becky. It sure is, but I'm sure that looking at your bank balance will, ease your conscience. Every action that you have ever made in your past can and will come back. Yes, that's true. No matter the intention, the reason, the cause, or the change. And I do believe that others holding people accountable is very important, but there's a fine line between accusation and persecution. Okay. Well, you didn't have any trouble when all these people were out there accusing Amber Lynn of being a PDF when you and Destiny finally went live and said that there was no inappropriate behavior between ALR and Libby. You could have done that earlier. You could have put an end to it, but you didn't. So, okay. She is not a public figure and cannot explain herself. And like I said, she doesn't want me or anyone to defend her post because she believes now that what she did was not okay. But please refrain from going after her and her family and sharing private information and harassing her. Well, you're going to have a word with the farms, okay? I have no control over that, and I have no intention of posting anything personal about that girl. It's just not in my...
So how long will it take Geordie to contact her?
Exactly. Having a public social media account and being a public figure creator is not the same thing. Well, why don't you explain the distinction to us, Becky? But I wanted you all to know that we are not together anymore, and I won't be defending her past. You won't hear from or about her again. Wow, so right down the memory hole, huh, Becky? That's cute. But I still don't want any harm to come to her. I will be taking a break after my next upload. I need to restart my life again. Oh, God. All right. To process and understand everything that happened. I don't know how long I'll be gone, but I need time to clear my head before I do or say anything else. I also don't know what the fallout of my own video trying to take accountability will look like for me. God, Becky, you're so stunning and brave. I just know that in the past, myself and my family have also been hurt from things being dug up or misunderstood or spread around. We'll join the fucking club about us for years, and I understand that pain too. But I also understand all of your concerns at the same time. I only ask that you please try to think and act with empathy rather than rage. That is all. Thank you, and I hope you'll understand. And I'm not going to read the comments because why would I?
Yeah.
All right. Exactly, Michael. That's a really good question. It was either written by Dakota or it was written by ChatGPT or whatever, but it's not the first time that Becky has been accused of using AI or her partner to, write something out for her like this. Of course she'll come back for money. Of course she will. Of course she will, and she will be hoisted on the shoulders of the community and treated like a hero because she was so honest and forthcoming.
I mean, she can basically make a loop. After she said everything about Amber Lynn, she can start at the beginning.
That's right.
And people will think, oh, this is new tea, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Listen, my opinion of Becky is very low. I've made no secret of that. It makes no difference to me. I mean, even taking into account the fact that Amber Lynn was a horrible, controlling asshole of a partner, which I totally accept and I understand. Becky has gotten into a lot of fuck shit. Becky is a grifter. Becky is a liar. Okay. And I like what Michael has to say here. 2 weeks from now, her car will explode in the Walmart parking lot and she will need 2,000 LMFAO. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. We'll have more car trouble. So much for that then, I guess. So I'm glad that we covered it today. I'm glad. It's good.
I think the timing is interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And you're saying that they are separating.
Right. Right. I also think it's very amusing that, she was the one who was criticizing Amber Lynn for going on her Kiwi Farms thread and reading it. Like, I'm sure that a lot of people sent her those posts and warned her about them and thought, and she thought, oh shit, there goes the money train.
Mm-hmm.
I'd better do something about it because she was making out like a bandit. But I'm sure that everybody will come forward to pat her ass and tell her that she's a hero. I have no doubt about that.
To say it in wicked words, the braverism.
The braverism. I know, right? Okay, I am in quite a bit of pain, and I am going to drink some water, and I'm going to have a lie down on the couch and hopefully not get stuck.
And hopefully nobody is stealing your sandwich. I think this is cute. I could say this.
For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, so...
I thought, end it on a light level, on something light, funny.
I asked Negz to make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich earlier, and he did, and I was stupid enough to leave it on the table in the living room, and I went to the bathroom and Bug ate the sandwich. So I asked for a replacement sandwich, and I had to go and do something. Oh, I got my I got my earbuds from the bedroom, and it takes me a bit of time to hobble back and forth, And when I came back, or my earbuds from the office actually, and I came back and Bug had eaten the second sandwich, so yeah, I think it's time for me to eat something.
And with the medication that you have to take now, it's always good to have something in the belly.
Exactly, and I have to take a lot of iron pills, and I cannot take iron on an empty stomach. Don't ever do that. So,
no.
All right, my love, I'm going to remove you from the etage.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys the next time. Thank you.
Oh,